What's going on? What's going on, Team CtD and fans around the world? I got to figure out how to get my picture up here so y'all can see me. Y'all can see what is going on. There we go. There we go. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another edition of Tech Thursday. We got a lot of people coming in. We actually got Dustin Zander coming in. Bang. Then we got yeah. Dustin, you got to help me get my father straight.
I will.
Get straight. Anyway, while they figure out the technical difficulties, I'm going to get y'all going. We're going to get going anyway. Let me get this so I get a decent amount of light, but not too much light. There we go. So my father is getting together, getting the phone hooked up so he can be able to jump in and talk on this live stream. And Dustin's going to help him make that happen. And then, we'll have a conversation. Tech Thursday is always something a little different. We've done some bowling before. We've had some other guests on before. And this week we wanted to bring my father on so he could have a little chat. You guys can learn a little bit more about what's going on kind of behind the scenes. Maybe we're in a better position now. Nope. Because he's got two mics on. Oh, there we go. That's better. Oh, you muted both of his mics.
Yeah.
We're going to get this figured out. We're going to get it figured out. So, now we can't hear him again. Oh, no. We're going to get this figured out one way or another. So let me let Dustin and my dad figure that out. And then we will, we'll make it happen one way or another. So anyway, I'll tell you guys a little bit about what's going on at the EC. So the EC has been painted on the outside, which is good. It's been painted on the inside. We've installed several walls in there. We've created some additional rooms, and we now are in a spot to where we want to incorporate some new technology. So we'll be able to incorporate some new technology into that building starting next week. And then after that, we've got a few other things we want to do. We want to some more cosmetic type stuff to get it like the way it's supposed to go, the way it's supposed to look. And once we get that up and running and that's good to go, then we'll officially figure out when we're going to have an official grand opening. And we'll then begin to have people come visit us at the education center. So I see somebody asked, David actually asked, why to go last week or way to go last week, beating Dustin last week in bowling. It was a good little match. It was best of three, and it got down to the wire. So it was definitely a good little match. I think, we'll do more of that too. We have some other things we want to do in the EC because right now the way it's kind of set up, we took the carpet down. We got the walls painted, but we want to do something special with the walls too. So we're going to work on that for a little bit. That's going to be able to help us to be able to do some unique things when people come to visit us too. So we got some plans, man. I can tell you it just takes time and money, I guess. And so we're spending some money and we're putting some time in on it. And we're going to do some pretty cool stuff by the time it's all said and done. We have some neat videos coming this week too. We got a video that we did that's kind of different. It's a little bit more informative in terms of like the current situation. So we hope that everybody is able to tune in and be able to check that out when we do it. We launch the videos every 4 days at the most, typically, and that allows us to be able to give you guys some content. I'm actually working on doing some things on my channel. YouTube sent me a letter or a notification to allow me to monetize that channel. So we got to figure out what that means, what that looks like, but we definitely are going to do something with that as well. We really want to do a lot more content for the bowlers to be able to help you guys become better faster. So we have a very good plan, I think, for us to be able to shoot some videos in that building. And I think once we get everything in place and we start shooting them, people will be pretty surprised at what we're able to do. It's a lot different when you have your own lanes some things you can do that you can't do when you don't have your own lanes. So looking forward to being able to show you guys some cool stuff and be able to, do some more education. What up, Dustin? I see you're back.
I see you talking smack over here.
There wasn't really no smack.
It's not enough smack to be talked.
No, no, I wasn't like that. It was more of a good conversation. So you were able to get things figured out, or not quite yet? Still working on it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, no worries, man. No worries. I mean, basically, I think what we did last week with the bonus for people. They were able to get there was 20% off anything off the CtD website, which is a pretty good deal for them. And I think like I said, once we really get open, we'll have some more stuff going on. We're gonna do some more stuff like that for sure. So
yeah, I mean that was a lot of fun. Win or lose, that was lots of fun, especially seeing the head pin show up.
Yeah, the head pin was pretty exciting for sure. Yeah. Definitely exciting. So I mean, I think where we're kind of headed with this whole thing, a lot of people have asked kind of, why did we do that or whatever. And a lot of it's just because it gives us the ability to be more versatile, right? We can do some more things that we couldn't do before. We can educate in ways we couldn't educate in before. We can help. Now we can do pro shop stuff. We got pro shop equipment in there. We can do pretty much any kind of training that's necessary or needed for bowling. And then if we want to just have a good old time, we can do that too. So we're getting some special couches in there. You may be able to have a little sleepover at the EC. You know what I'm saying? We're working on something like that too. So definitely going to be a different kind of place for sure. Looking forward to being able to teach people how everything from drilling to bowling to to chilling, whatever you want to call it. So
for sure, it's gonna be awesome once it's finally done. I know lots of work have been put into getting it all set up. So I know you'll be excited once it's all finished.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time. We did get a sign put up this week, so that was exciting. We got a sign on the front and a sign on the back. The sign on the front is backlit, so it's actually a lit sign from behind, and then the sign on the back of the building it is actually lit too, but we have a light that shines on that one instead. So looking forward to being able to, like I said, just be able to get it open, be able to get it figured out, be able to get people there to come visit us. It should be really, really an exciting time once we actually get it figured out. So
that's right. Sounds like it'd be an awesome experience.
For sure. It should be. I mean, we want it to be different because of the technology that we're bringing into the building. I mean, you guys will see that soon. We'll see that. So we're going to do lots of ball reviews. We got all the ball companies pretty much are going to get us some bowling balls, and we'll be able to test bowling balls in there. We're going to do something with that too. We have a real good plan on how we're going to do some ball reviews. They'll be a lot different, but they'll be educational for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be good. My arm's going to fall off, but it'll be good.
Yeah. Well, you're young. You got plenty of life in that arm, so we want to help you to utilize it to its fullest potential and maximize its ability there.
Oh yeah. So, of course, with the EC, lots of technology is either coming or is already there, and that will help us quite a bit with gathering data to put out good information when it comes to these ball reviews.
Absolutely. If you guys got some questions, man, why don't you drop them in the comments? I know we're kind of waiting on a few things to happen over here, but if you guys got some questions, now's a great time to ask them, and we will squeeze them in. You can see how we here we go, like this. We can put them right up here, and we can read them together. So just go ahead and ask some questions. So when you do ball reviews, they're going to be a house shot or sports shots. My gut says we want them to be more realistic to the bowler. The problem with doing it on a house shot, which that would be a house shot, but the problem with doing it on a house shot is it tends to make the balls come closer together. So we're going to have some things that will help to separate the balls out. We're going to have some new metrics, some new ways to measure certain things about bowling balls, and that'll be a way to help distinguish them further apart. But I think from a bowling standpoint, it may be on more of a house shot because that's what most people bowl on. If we did them all on a flat pattern or a sport pattern, that's great. You can see more difference. but you lose the realness aspect of it then, especially when you're looking at transition and seeing how balls roll in the transition, because that's a big deal, understanding the transition and how the ball behaves in transition. So
oh yeah. More reviews from the lefty perspective.
I mean, I'll do some, but not nearly as many as Dustin. Dustin's going to be the ball tester. I was a ball tester for probably 10, 15 years. I'm good. Good.
Did enough of that.
Yeah. So here's a good one. Bill's asking, do we use different layouts or do we use the same layout? We use different layouts. Just primarily we use whatever our favorite layout is. And I think when we start shooting some videos, that might be one of the first ones we go into, just kind of explaining our philosophy on layouts and what that means and what they do and those kind of things. So the way it's set up right now, we do drill all the balls the same in terms of for each of us, they're all drilled the same, but for us together, we've got two different layouts that we use. So we'll have a conversation that'll go a little more detailed into that too. That's a good point though, Bill. I'm glad you brought that up actually. So, and here's another one too. So, right. So like Russell said, I like to see him from the left side. Well, you know what we could do, man? We could just do a mirror image and then all of a sudden, bang, now it looks like it's lefty. So
yeah,
we got some technology. We can make it, we probably can make Dustin two-handed if we do it right. Two-handed if we do it right. Who knows?
You don't want to see me throw it two-handed.
It's not very pretty, huh?
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we got some pretty cool things in the works there. I think you guys are going to be pretty impressed with what we're doing. We want to do them in a much more analytical fashion. That's probably the best way to describe it. I'm not so much. I mean, we've done them. Just throw the ball. Here's what we think, and that's kind of the way it's done. But we are investing in some serious technology to up the ante on that game. We want people to have a much more concrete understanding of the balls, a much more concrete understanding of the technology, and a better understanding of which ball is going to fit their game better, even if they don't throw it like we throw it. So I think once we reveal it, people are going to be able to get a much better feel for what we're talking about. And, we're pretty excited. Like I said, the balls, we just got the okay from the manufacturers to start sending us balls. So it'll be a couple weeks still. David asked, "Where's my dad at?" I don't know. Did we figure out what we're doing with him, or is he not able to make it this go round? Or
yeah, I'm trying to get him straightened out.
Dustin's working on it, David. We're trying to get Senior on. We got to get it figured out. I like this one too. He says, "We've never seen a bad ball review. It'd be interesting to see if we can get some objective data that backs up the review." That's our whole goal. Our goal is not to produce bad ball reviews. Our whole goal is to produce objective data, so that way you have a much better understanding of what's going on. Like I said, I mean, people do it the way they do it now because that's what you have to work with. But we can make things way more objective, and we should. The technology does exist. But, you got to spend a lot of money to do that. We spent a solid 5 figures getting the technology that we're bringing into the EC to be able to do objective ball reviews. So most people aren't going to be willing to do that. And especially right now with the way things are going in bowling, nobody's really trying to spend any money. We wanted to do that because we think it's the best way to educate people and to get them to have a better understanding of what's going on. So you will see a lot more objective data from us as opposed to the standard typical subjective data. So Terrence says, "I'd love to get all of his info, rev rate, ball speed, axis tilt, that kind of stuff." We'll actually be able to do that in the building as well. We've got some plans and some things in place to help be able to push that process along a lot faster for the general consumer too. When you come to the building, we got someone working on to be able to make that happen pretty quick for the general consumer. But that's kind of like the bowler's identification, so to speak. That tags you as a bowler. Your ball speed, rev rate, tilt, rotation, and axis point. So we want to make sure that we do educate and are able to capture that information for the bowler and be able to give it to them so they can be able to help make more informed decisions. And you're going to see that come from us when we start actually doing a lot of the reviews. So When you think about track equipment, I mean, I think all the brands make some good balls. Doesn't matter what the company is. I don't think there's a whole lot of what I would consider to be bad balls out right now. I think there are some balls that are definitely suspect. But that's what happens when you make 100 balls a year. You're gonna have some that are suspect. When I was making bowling balls, we made some balls that were great, some balls that were okay, and some balls that were terrible. That's just part of the deal. So I think that doesn't change when you start launching a bunch of balls. But I think at the same token, you can also find opportunities or have a better understanding of a particular product if you do some more objective testing. A ball that may be terrible in one case may end up being decent in another situation, in another environment. So therefore, understanding the environment, understanding where the ball works best is part of the equation too, to be able to be successful with the products. So that's kind of where we're at on that too. Let's see here. We got what is the most important aspect of choosing the equipment that fits the style of the bowler you are? I think understanding those metrics, knowing those metrics is key, because the metrics will tell you what type of balls will help you the most, what type of balls will give you the most room for error, and what type of balls will give you a wide variety of reactions, whereas other balls may not give you a very wide variety of reactions. So understanding those metrics, the rev rate, tilt, rotation, ball speed, access point, are key to being able to choose the type of equipment that works best for you. So I think it's going to be good, man. I think at the end of the day, we want to be able to help bowlers have a better understanding of the whole process of ball selection and have it in a way that it makes sense and you can follow it. Like, you can actually follow it. So, I know a lot of times people think, well, I watch this guy throw it, I don't throw it like him. Does that mean the ball won't work for me or will work for me? But that's not necessarily true. If you can come up with some other metrics, you can take the subjective bowler portion out of the equation and decide if it's a good ball for you or not. So we got some cool things, man. Definitely looking forward to being able to get this building open. Bill asked, we'll have a pro shop be open to the public as well as the staff. So yeah, we're working on that. I can tell you that when it's all said and done, we haven't 100% determined that answer. And I tell you why. It's a function of volume, right? So like, if we've got a very large staff. So if we are overwhelmed with the volume of our staff, then making it open to the public only adds to that volume, which would then be a negative for the whole, for the sum of the whole, everybody. So in that case, the answer would be no. If not, and we've got space, we've got room, we've got the option for people to do that, then yeah, we'll make it open to the public. But we want to at least make sure that whatever we do that portion outstandingly. We want to be able to make sure we can serve the bowlers that have helped us to be able to get to this point, specifically the staff, to be able to get to the spot as best as possible before we branch it out per se to the general public to be able to use. Now, in terms of classes, that's not a question. If we're doing classes or education, that kind of stuff, yeah, that'll be open to everybody. And we'll do a lot of that stuff actually online too. So people will have an opportunity to be able to learn as much as they can. But we've got some cool stuff, man, some cool stuff planned and some cool stuff coming. So hopefully we will be in a position to have too much business. And by having too much business, we'll then have to expand once again. And we are not opposed to doing that either. So definitely looking forward to it. So yeah, Terrence wants to know which ones are suspect. It just depends, my man. It depends on what your style is and what your metrics say. Because what's suspect for, say, me may be different than what's suspect for you, depending on how you throw the ball. So it really depends on your style of play. But I think that once we get some of the metrics in place, that will really help too. Because then it won't be what I think. It'll just be, this is what it is. And we'll be able to just say, this is what it is. This is what we got. This is how we did it. And now we'll be able to move on to the next component of it. And then you'll be able to make a decision on your own. So
how long did it take you to understand, like, okay, this one looks good, this one will be all right, but this one is going to be something special?
So it takes a little bit of time, because in order for you to be able to do that, you've got to be able to really put the ball through the paces, really be able to see the ball in a lot of different situations to be able to determine when it's good. What's interesting is bowlers know, like given enough games, given enough situations, giving enough environments, bowlers will know if a ball is really, really good ball. There are lots of balls that we could just community agree on that are good. Now, why they're good, that's a little debatable. But there's several balls that I can think of right off the top of my head that you could just automatically go, yep, that's a good ball. I always kind of default to IQ Tour. That's just a good ball. Now, why is it good? That's a little bit different and a little bit tricky. But we plan on trying to unlock some of the reasons as to why objectively, so that then you have got a good comparison between that piece and some of the other balls that come out as well, to be able to do some comparisons. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think people are going to have a much different perspective, especially when they see some of the things that we do. Some of the things that we do are going to be a little bit going to be a little bit different than what you've seen before. But at the end of the day, the goal is really, really simple. The goal is to educate bowlers in a fashion that allows them to be able to have as much information as possible when it comes to selecting product.
All right. So we will wait just a second. Our special guest is here, getting situated. Did you want to take one more question before?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Let's see what we got. Think about drilling this bag with the same layout. UFO, Rubicon, Idle Pro, Nuclear Cell, Idle Pearl. What would the pros and cons of drilling them the same be?
I mean, drilling them the same isn't necessarily the end of the world there. I think you've got to put some different surfaces on those balls then. Some of them are already a little bit different, but if you really want to maximize the arsenal, you've got to be able to get some different surfaces on those balls. I'm a big fan, obviously, I've told this for years, I'm a big fan of diversifying the arsenal with different companies, because you get different cover stocks, different reactions, and then that naturally makes the balls roll a little bit differently. When you're locked into one company, you're going to kind of fall into a specific type of category per se, but it's not a bad thing. You just need to make sure that you then alter the performance of your bowling balls with surface. That's a good way to be able to get yourself set up to be able to work on different conditions. If you're bowling on a house shot all the time or most of the time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Then you can have balls that are mostly close to each other and you're just switching between them as you want. Not a big deal. But if you want to bowl tournaments, you want to get a little more serious, you're going to need some different services for sure on those bowling balls if you keep the layouts the same.
All right. Senior.
Senior, you there?
Hey, hello.
There we go.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So if you have any questions for Mr. Ronald Hickland Sr., put them in the chat. He will answer them for you, have a little discussion about the questions. But first and foremost, Senior, where'd you start with bowling? Let's hear your story.
My bowling story?
Yep.
Well, my bowling story started, I guess, sort of like how Ronnie has followed along. I watched my dad bowl. I used to watch my dad bowl, and that's how I got into bowling. And then I took him to tournament to bowl with him, and basically that's how I kind of got addicted to the bowling. And as we began to continue going in life, and I got Ronnie into it at a very young age. He followed me around everywhere from 2 weeks old. And here we are. Pass around, baby.
David wants to know, how long have you been bowling?
Right around probably 48 years.
Wow.
48 to 52.
So taking Ron to these tournaments, was he good or bad?
It was good. We kind of gave him directions as to what to do, what not to do. But I guess the biggest thing I remember, one time we were bowling a tournament, me and my best friend, and Ronnie was there, and Ronnie saw this blue bowling ball, and it was on a rack. And my friend was, he had shot 300, and if it was a 5-gamer, and anyway, to make it short, Ronnie pulled the ball off and broke his fingers. and we didn't stop bowling. We knew we put ice on it. Called his mom and nothing, no, but we knew that it was messed up at that particular point, but the ball fell on his fingers.
Yeah, you want to see what finger that got broke, Dustin? You want me to show you the finger? It's
Sure.
right. You want to see it?
Yeah.
It's actually this one.
Yeah. That was the finger.
I don't see the problem. Why was the other one up?
Well, I didn't want to, be too mean to you. I was mean to you last week when I beat you at the bowling, so I figured I'd be nice this week.
Thanks.
Oh wow.
Thanks. I need the confidence. Mr. Friendly, Senior, your energy is infectious. What drives your interest in the future of bowling?
I just love my interest in the bowling. What drives it, I'm an enthusiastic person for one thing, but I love to see people enjoy what they're doing. I love for them to have a passion for it and to watch other people achieve. I think that's my biggest thrill is to watch other people achieve and then see that they can do it, And I find in the bowling that, there's so much information. And there's a lot of information that people don't have, but like they thrive to want to come and get it. And it's excitement when they find success in it. It drives me. I mean, it drives me to death just to be able to enjoy and to share and be a part of what they're involved in.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you in action before. It's like I can tell that your passion is showing people how this works and making them stay in bowling. Russell says maybe a match between junior and senior.
I mean, I'm sure that'll happen at some point. Once we get things going, that'll happen. Definitely will happen.
So
I can hold my own, so that's all that counts.
Oh.
I remember, why don't you tell Dad about the time that you bought a car after a bowling tournament? I mean, this is something that most people will never, ever get to experience. So tell them what happened.
I can't remember.
Oh, so we were bowling. Remember we was bowling? Not we. You were bowling at the Super Hoinky.
Oh, yes.
And you finished in like the top 16, right?
Yep.
Made the top 16.
Top 12.
Oh, top 12, yeah. And remember, they paid a lot of money back then. Like first place was $100,000.
Yep.
So, you had a real nice payday. And then on the way home, you was like, I think I'm going to buy me a car.
That was out through Dayton, Ohio. And I pulled a car off the show floor.
Yep.
Drove it home.
What kind of car was it?
That one was it was a Nissan.
Yeah. It was the red Nissan.
It was the red one, twin cam, 16 valves, T-top.
Oh, it was sharp, Dustin. It was sharp.
And Dustin, Ronnie and them, they always would tell me because, see, I had this little thing of going triple digits, okay? And they would be, faster, Daddy, faster, faster, faster. And I might be running 115, 120 on back roads.
Yeah.
It was sharp.
What's interesting about that, this is going to sound kind of weird, but it's true. So when you're a little kid and you're going fast and there's all these hills, you know what I'm saying? There's all these hills. Every time you would go over the hill, you always felt it in your groin. I don't know why that is, but I just remember that. Did you ever have that happen to you, Dustin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to find out why. Like, I just remember that as a kid, we would be going over these hills, and every time we would go over, it's me and my brother, we go over like, oh, because it always hurt. I don't know. But obviously, as you get older, that goes away because now you can go over all the hills you want and nothing happens. But I specifically remember as a kid going over hills, and I'm like, oh, it would just feel really weird. I don't know.
I mean, where I grew up at, well, I guess I live where I grew up at. Some of the back roads are like that. It's like super, super hilly. It's like, oh. All right. You've been bowling for so many years. Who is your Mount Rushmore of professional bowlers, senior?
Who is my
Mount Rushmore of professional bowlers, like your top 5?
my top 5? Earl Anthony Pearl would be one for sure. Walter Ray Williams, Norm Duke, Jason Couch. I remember going to a couple of tournaments watching him. And if I have to pick one, if I pick one now, it's going to have to be Jason Belmonte.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good top 5. Ron, you want to chime in on this one?
I mean, that's a pretty solid top 5. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit different because it's just, you know, we grew up in different eras, right? So I don't think you can dispute Walter. You can't dispute Jason. You can't dispute Earl. I always liked Parker Bone. I just thought, you know, he was really good as a lefty. I also always liked Mike Albee too. I thought Mike Albee was really good. You know, real smooth lefty. You know what I'm saying? I was never that smooth, but I always thought they were really smooth guys. And you know, I like EJ Tackett. You know, that's part of the reason why we sponsor. I like EJ Tackett. I think he throws the ball phenomenal, and I think that when it's all said and done, he's going to be up there too in that elite list of bowlers career wise that was able to play the sport, because he does something that's very different to the ball. In a lot of the ways, like these other guys we mentioned did. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got their own little trick. He's got a special trick for today's game, I believe. So,
yeah. I mean, he's got an insane game, that's for sure. So if you don't know, Senior is infamous for his phrases. How do you come up with those?
They just come out naturally, pop. You know, just pop up in the head. You know, they just appear without me realizing they're there. But it's, you know, it's about having the fun. I mean, when you watch the pins go down, you know, like get the kids off the street. You know, everybody's gonna serve some time today. You know, it's just to watch it's about the action. See the action of how the pins go down. Ball testing was really phenomenal and fun because, you know, I was looking at the hitting power, and it just gave you something inside to say when you saw the kind of hitting power that the ball was performing on the pins, you know. So they just pop up, you know, and even James Brown popping there a little bit, you know, I wound up do a little dance or whatever else. Didn't know that his mom was videotaping me, but I told people it's time for me to get down. And I had a 258 game, but, you know, I had to get things rolling.
Hey, I love it. Love it. Senior, do you prefer the game from back in the day or the present game?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, to me, it was a lot tougher. But I like the challenge of today, because the thing is, one of the things that make me like it more now, though, because all along, you know, and I look at it now and I realize how important it was. Ronnie would always drill my bowling balls, and he would always get there when we go to bowling alley. And one of the things was, you know, he'd have to find my positive access point. I never could understand why you got to put this tape on my ball all the time. We go down and I throw the ball until, yep, there it is, you know, until we get it right. And then, you know, realizing as you get older, you know, that is very important to know all of that. And the thing was, I would have to say, though, in order for me to become the bowler that I have, it is because of Ronnie. You know, I was bowling pretty good, but I mean, you know, he knew what I needed. He knew how I needed it. And, you know, then I go out there and perform the rest of it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Nicholas wants to know what your favorite tournament day meal is.
Your pantry looks like some fried chicken and oatmeal.
Yeah, I love fried chicken. Like my oatmeal.
See.
Easy enough. Dave says, ask Senior about Coldwater, Ohio.
Coldwater, that's a very interesting place. We used to go up there all the time, up to the Liney's place. I liked it up. I liked it up there because like he had a tough shot up there. But we go up there and bowl, and I mean, we stay halfway through the night just bowling, having a wonderful time. But my thing about going to tournament was I was going to bowl with everybody I can bowl with. Anybody want to bowl with me, I was going to bowl with anybody I can bowl with because it's about, I'm cashed many times as I can. So I mean, Coldwater, I really liked it. They ran nice tournaments. The hospitality was just awesome.
Was it like a smaller tournament, bigger tournament?
It was a doubles tournament. They always run a doubles tournament. And
Okay.
even now, previously, they would have like in this era now, they would have PBA stop there, but they make the tournament really tough, and you get some very good top bowlers from Ohio that would come to this doubles tournament, and we would go there to support the tournament.
Cool. Where's your favorite place to bowl? If you could pick any center in the U.S.
My favorite.
I know you've been quite a few places, so.
I think that would be kind of hard to say. I've been so many places.
Yeah. Or any that are your favorite. Doesn't have to be just one.
I really don't. Oh, I know one that used to be really a favorite of mine, and that was Ronnie when I used to go to Lima, Ohio. To the 5 gamer up there, and you know where you shot your 300 up there.
Yeah.
Re-rate you. We used to go to Lima all the time. That house was very good. Like that there. Take a bunch of people up there. And I mean, week after week after week, go up there. That was pretty good. Century Lanes.
Or Burn, Indiana.
Burn.
Yeah, Burn, Indiana.
I think that was probably, that would be my favorite because Burn had 8 lanes. And I would win so many times up at Dave's place because I go up there and bowl with everybody in the world. And I remember one time, I mean, I liked it up there. I've had 4 296s up there before I ever got a 300, whatever. But I remember one time I took this one friend up. He got off work, this guy, Tim Mitchell. And I said, Tim, now here's the thing. We're going to go make money. So if you pay attention, we'll make money. And we're not going to spend all day long. Anyway, we go up there in the middle of the day. And I wound up shooting like 1060 for 4. And Tim shot really well, but anyway, we had 2,000 something. So Dave never posted the score until toward the end of the tournament because we'd have ran the entries away. But I told Tim what to do. I said, you pay attention to what we're doing, and this is what will happen. So that's probably my favorite place because I even bowled league up there. 8-lane house, but I mean, awesome.
Mike wants to know, what are your favorite balls?
I think I'm gonna tell you what my favorite ball was.
All right.
The bull whip. Ronnie drew that bull whip up for me. That ball was phenomenal because with that ball there, that's where I shot my 300, 800 with my first 800 with. That ball just, I mean, it was a striking machine for me. But then I would have to say I do have one that that was way back when, but then into this century now, my favorite ball was the Orange Eruption Pro.
Like father, like son.
We kind of called that ball the cheater ball because it just struck all over the place. We don't have that ball.
Senior, do you prefer wood lanes or synthetic?
Synthetic.
So how many 300s and 800s do you have total?
Well, 800s I have 3, but 300s I have 20.
All right. Ron, how many do you have?
6. Man, I quit counting, bro. I'll be honest with you. I quit counting. it's got to the point to where, like, it's one of those things where, like, I remember it's probably maybe 5 years ago. Maybe it was 5 years ago. We were bowling leagues. We were bowling league.
Yeah.
And, I was shooting back-to-back 800s, like 300s, 800. Like Chris was bowling last weekend. That was me. That was me. Like Chris was bowling last weekend. Chris had 3 300s and 3 800s over the span of 2 weeks. Crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a couple that are memorable. I remember shooting one in TNBA, 800 in TNBA with 290 on the back end to get to 800, 800 flat, I think 800 even. I remember another one was a lot of fun because just the atmosphere, like just the people. We was at UBA. And I needed 79 the last game to get to 800. I think I was bowling with Sean. I think Sean was bowling with me that block, actually. But the atmosphere made that one a lot of fun. So, I mean, for me, I think just you get in that moment and you especially a 300 moment where, you know, it's the last strike or whatever. And like, I would always like start singing, like on the approach, start singing, and that would just calm me down. And then you'd be able to pry it off, and then it was good. So, you know, just I think you got to find something that works for you. And once you figure that out, you know, then you just keep doing it. And then, you know, it happens a lot more often. The first one, like my dad said, was in Lima, Ohio at a tournament. So a lot of fun.
So with the ball you drilled last week?
Yeah, that tidal wave wipeout. That was the ball. That was my first 300 ball. Tidal wave wipeout. And I brought the ball back out to take it with me last weekend to Louisville. That ball's going back to Louisville too. So we'll see. Need to bring me an Orange Eruption Pro. Woo! Boy, when that ball came out, everybody was in trouble. If that ball was striking, you in trouble. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sean said it right. Sean said there was a dude. That's right. There was this guy. This is why it was so much fun. There was a guy at the UBA. He was betting against us. And we was just manhandling everybody. I think that might have been the one when Danny Wiseman was bowling too. He got a little smoke too that weekend. So, Dan, maybe why don't you talk a little bit about like some of the things that you had going on in your life when you were, you know, getting into bowling. You know, it's very, very different when you started bowling than when I got into it. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that you went through when you were growing up and going bowling. You didn't have a whole bunch of bowling balls. You know, you didn't have, you know, I mean, how many bowling balls would you go to a tournament with?
Shoot, I basically had one ball. Definitely no more than two. I basically had one ball, and, you know, you made it do everything that needed to be done with it. So you didn't have the luxury of, you know, having a bunch of bowling balls, and, you know, we made them work. But what was funny though is, you know, I look back, you know, and growing up in bowling, like I say, you know, we just, you know, we have a ball, and but I remember back then though is that because the conditions were conducive to be kind of tough. But I can remember when I played right off the 1-2 board, and I kill you. You know, I was very devastated there, you know, with throwing some of the stuff we had back then. But you know, as we went along, I mean, you know, we weren't blessed to have all of that, but the bowling was so exciting because, see, you can never predict it. You can never predict what you're going to do. You know, people, you know, oh yeah, block shot, the lanes are easy. You know, you just turn around and shut your eyes. But I always felt like it always going to give you a challenge because you can never really predict what it's going to do. But it keeps you coming back. And when you're bowling good, you're sitting high. But at the same time, you can go to the Nationals and it'll humble you down real quick.
Yeah, that's for sure. What about the first time you got an Excalibur, the first reactive ball?
Oh gosh. When I had that Excalibur, we were up in Michigan. What was that? The Hamtramck. The one tournament we was up there, and that ball was a striking machine. I mean, I wish Ronnie could have. I wish that ball could have ever been duplicated because, like, if I could have, there were just 2 or 3 little spares that I could have picked up. I was throwing strikes all out of the rear end, but I could have done very, very well and won a bunch of money in the tournament up there though, because that ball, I mean, it just when it got to the pins, it just was like a heat-seeking missile. And I really liked that ball, but could never get anything close to that.
Dustin, that was the very first reactive ball. Back then everybody was throwing like blue hammers and burgundy hammers and that kind of stuff. The Excalibur comes out. It's a shiny ball. It's reactive and it goes sideways down the lane. So everybody's like, "What is this?" But I remember you got that ball drilled by Dave Hayworth up in Bern, Indiana. Yeah, you went bowling with it. And that ball was hooking crazy.
So was that ball? Was that ball
what?
Oh, was that ball like good, or was it just more different than anything?
It was good because it was so different, right? So that ball, that reaction was when you were striking, nobody could beat you. The problem was, when you got some transition or whatever, it became uncontrollable. I don't even know how to. It would. The best way to describe it, probably that would make sense. It would be the equivalent if everybody on the planet threw the ball one-handed, and then you had the Excalibur would be thrown by a two-handed bowler, just completely different.
Yeah.
And when a two-hander is striking, you're not beating that. You know what I'm saying? Compared to a one-hander, right? But when that ball was striking, you couldn't beat it. But like you say, you missed a couple spares because you couldn't use it as a spare ball.
Nope.
Like you use it as a spare ball, it hooked.
Yep.
Oh.
Other spare ball, you flatten your hand out, the ball would go straight. You flatten your hand out with the Excalibur and it still hooked a little bit, so you miss all your corner pins. So yeah, definitely different, man. Charles right. It changed the angle. It changed entry angle, and it changed the way you play the lanes forever because you no longer could do some of those normal things that you could do with the urethane ball when everybody was throwing urethane. That ball was definitely different.
Cool. So we've had this question a few times, but this is kind of a two-parter here. Senior, what are you throwing now? And did you coach bowling?
What I'm throwing now, I am throwing the new IQ Tour Nano Pearl. I really like that ball. I threw it this past weekend, bowled very well with it. Throwing the result, golly, that ball there. I just was shooting all kind of numbers with it, just in love with it, and then to tame down a little bit from that, the prism. So, and I got those and I can just about do, most of the adjustments that I want to do. But I have to say, in essence, for me to be as good as I am, though, is Ronnie knows how to select and pick the right balls for me. Every new ball out there is not for everybody. And that's what sometimes people don't understand. And they want to get the next thing out. And that's one thing that, I try to tell people all the time, just because there's something new out there, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you need. You might already have what you need to have. And I have coached a lot of people in bowling. That's what I love doing. I want to share what I got and what I know, to help them so that they can kind of enjoy the game and have fun with it also. It's a sport that can reach out to people that, never really had anything and can be something to feel successful in life with it along with that.
Now, with your background in education, does that make coaching bowlers easier?
Oh, yeah, because see, being in education, I had to realize I was a coach in education. I was head track and cross country coach for 18 years, both boys and girls. So I've always had coaching all the way through me. And the thing is, I always had that way of making them believe in themselves and be successful. Very few people that I have ever dealt with have not been successful, you know, because of the coaching. And, you know, it's that patient and taking time with them, you know, do the simple little things. And I just love it. I just love it. You know, they come and, you know, they want that information. You know, a lot of people don't want to share it. I had a friend get mad at me because we're bowling a tournament and someone asked me a question. I was helping them. They tell me, you don't help the opponent because we're trying to beat them. I told them, you know, hey, you know what? If you throwing the ball right, you don't have to worry about it. My thing is I'm going to share the information and knowledge that I have with anybody that, you know, is asking and requesting for it, because that's what I love doing. That's my passion. Just like Ronnie, like being the creator of coming up with things. I mean, you know, he don't want to halfway sleep, you know, because he's thinking of something different and new. And I mean, you know, those are our challenges that we have, and you know, that's what motivates us to keep us going. But you can inspire a lot of people, and it helps them in life.
So kind of going off that last question, what specific experiences have you used as an educator in bowling?
What specific experiences?
Yeah, how have you ever used your experiences as an educator in bowling? Like, is there anything like specific tactics that you use?
Well, yeah. You know, the other thing is I get a hold of as much information as I can also about bowling. And I kind of watch and pay attention to everything out there. And I remember, here's the one thing that made it really kind of fun, because I know when I was doing the ball testing and the tech support for EBI, I remember when Ronnie told me one time, he said, well, Dad, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. And I took the Powerhouse training ball drilling class. Okay. And I remember Ronnie said, well, Dad, now you got to drill your own bowling ball up. And I remember drilling up a bowling ball, because I mean, I could tell people what to do, how to do it, what to ask for, ask them all these questions, and they would reach the success. But anyway, Ronnie had me, he said, you got to drill your own bowling ball up. And I drilled it up. And I think the third time out, rolling the bowling ball, I shot my first 300 with the bowling ball I drilled up. And see, Ronnie had always drilled up my stuff. Between him and Dave Hayworth, they always drilled my bowling balls.
Cool. Very cool. You got a thought, Ron? You look like you're...
No, man. I mean, I'm just listening. You know what I'm saying? I just remember some of the stories. I was going to tell you, just so that we're clear, unless your last name is Hickland, you're not allowed to call me Ronnie. Just so we're clear on that. So make sure.
Okay.
I mean, we got a nickname for you, and it contains Ronnie. So,
what's the nickname?
Oh boy!
We'll tell you later.
Okay.
Later discussion.
So I saw a good question here from Chris. Both Ron and Senior, but maybe both of you can chime in on this. When does too much information become too much, or when does information become too much? Like just being overwhelmed with information.
I think that you gotta, you know, focus on what you really want to do. First of all, I mean, to me, I mean, you know, there's all this information out there. I think that if you're trying to do more than one thing at once, that you can probably overload. It's no different than in coaching. You know, if there's 4 things that I might have wrong with, you know, with a person, and you want to concentrate on maybe the most simplest thing that you can correct first before you do something else. And as far as obtaining information, I think it's the same way. You can have all this information floating up there, but you have to figure out how to decipher it out. You know, what part of it do I want to use, and what do I want to use it for?
You have anything to add to that, Ron?
Man, I agree 100% with what he said. But look at this. Look at.
I know which comment you're looking at.
Look at these people, man. Look at these people. So they want to hear a story about when I was young. So you can tell them a story about me. It's cool.
When Ronnie was young, well, the whole thing is we had some rules, okay? When Ronnie come home from school, when Ronnie was young, I mean, like I say, since that he'd been a bowling alley tossed around baby all the way through, coming all the way up and everything else. So we had a rule from school that when Ronnie come home, Ronnie had to do homework. But after you get homework done, then he can do whatever. First thing Ronnie would do is go call all these bowling ball companies up, okay? And he's asking all kind of questions or whatever. And they're sending him bowling balls that are cut in half with cores under there. And his mom would look up under the bed or whatever else. And we saw these bowling balls up under there. They had 30, 40 bowling balls up under the bed. So, he never stopped, questioning and asking them. And they said, well, we just send you this. And, but he stayed with that. And, he did some little crazy things when they were little, because I know that when he was working with in the pro shop and he had his little sidekick friends in there, Ronnie Russell and Davy Jones was the pro shop operator, and Chris Jones in there, and some of the stuff that Ronnie them did, because I never knew for a good little while about them going up on top of the roof of the bowling alley and throwing the bowling ball down off at a cracket to kind of get the core out.
We did some pretty mischievous stuff, man. There's a couple times we probably could have died. There was one time we took a bowling ball, we soaked it in alcohol, and then set it on fire. And that was pretty rough. There was a ball called an Omega, and the Omega had a core in it, but they wouldn't really tell you about the core. So we took a hammer and a chisel, and we were hammering and chiseling the ball. But it was a thick shell ball. There wasn't an outer core to it. So it was really hard to get through the cover stock to get the core. Well, anyway, one time we got the hammer with chisel kind of stuck. We hit it really hard. It flew out. It hit my friend right in his thumb, like the chisel did. And he started bleeding all over the place. And I was like, well, we can't tell anybody what happened. Like, he's over there bleeding like crazy. I'm like, let's just wrap it up. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. He was bleeding, you know what I mean? So there was we did some mischievous things. There's no doubt we got lucky. Dave actually gave us a lot of freedom. And because of that, we learned a lot too, though. We learned a whole lot about bowling balls, and just look at these questions, man. Look at these questions in the group. They just want to hear all the bad stuff. Look at this. How was Ron's attitude as a youth bowler? Go ahead and tell him, Dad. It's cool. Tell him.
His attitude was as a youth bowler, his attitude good, because he had the little entourage that they ran around with, because like his mom would take them to all these different tournaments, and Davy would sit there and they pack him up and they go. But I mean, he had a great positive attitude, and they went and won a lot of scholarship money. They were serious. They were serious about it.
We did win some money every now and again. We, pop one off on them. Dustin knows what that's like. Dustin's been popped off on before, so he understands what it's all about.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean, I think growing up, I was blessed in a lot of ways, right? Because it's me and my brother, and both of our parents were there. My dad was a teacher, my mom was a nurse. So when we got out of school, they basically were coming home too, and I'd go with my dad to the bowling center, and my mom would take us to tournaments on the weekends. So, we had a solid upbringing, that definitely gave us the right, set us on the right path to be able to be successful long term. So, yeah, got lucky because of my parents for sure on that. And it's really cool now to be able to do some of the things that we're doing. Like, the other week, we were sitting in the education center, and I was like, man, it's a pretty cool thing to think that we actually can bowl here and kind of do what we want. You know what I'm saying? And you never would have thought that, especially just kind of how things had been going and where we were and how the whole process got to that spot. But at the end of the day, that's where we're at. We're at a place where we can do what we want to do now and bowl when we want. And I know Dad's looking forward to getting a league started up there. So we're going to get that knocked out here soon when we get back.
Yep.
With a league there. We do have our official credentials from the BPAA. So we are a certified BPAA center, and we've reached out to USBC and got what we need from them too. So we will be able to have a sanctioned league at the education center. So that should be a lot of fun too.
Cool. Cool. Rob said,
wrap this up, man, before it gets too crazy, bro.
all right. Well, Rob said every innovator has a few funny stories and explosions.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
All right. Well, first of all, Senior, thanks for joining us. Couple of hiccups, but we got it figured out, and I hope you enjoyed the talk. I sure did. That was fun. So
I enjoyed it very well. Appreciate it.
Good. So every Thursday we are here for CtD Tech Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. You will get you can get notifications by subscribing to Ron's YouTube channel and clicking the bell, or liking the Facebook page, so you get those notifications before we go live. Facebook will update you. I believe it's 30 minutes or an hour before we go live, so you won't forget. Like I said, we are here every Thursday. So with that being said, thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, Senior, thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you all very soon.
See you guys later.
Later.